Here you go.
Oh, he's back there now, so.
Okay. So good.
Share screen, I don't think I'll be able to see. Yeah, I can't see the chat window. Do it this way.
It would appear online. If I'm logged in, can you see the chat with other people talking?
No, don't worry about it.
Alright, so, is it recording? Okay, alright. Welcome back, you guys. Woohoo! We made it. Please forgive our technical difficulties, but we're gonna check through this. And next class, we should definitely have this all figured out. So, yes, we're coming into the new age. So, alright, you guys, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about, contract to closing, right? So this is, oh my gosh, I got a contract, now what, right? All the multiple steps that are gonna be involved in getting through everything. Okay, all right, so today, you guys, our purpose and objective. We're gonna talk about professionally assisting and navigating your buyers through the requirement of time and executed contract to a successful closing. Professionally assisting and navigating your sellers through the requirement from time of execution through a successful closing. You will understand critical timelines and important contractual requirements and tasks. And you will understand how to keep mortgage lenders, surveyors, appraisers, inspectors, and title services working towards a stress-free closing, right? That's the whole goal at the end of it. It's understanding the process start to finish, who's involved, who's responsible for what, and just making this a nice smooth transaction for your client. Because remember, while we do this is what we do, your clients, they're kind of new to this stuff most of the time. You know, they don't understand this. This is why they use us, the professionals, to guide them through this process. We want to try to keep that a nice smooth transaction and try to keep that as stress-free as possible. So, how do you service your buyers through a successful closing? One of the things you guys are going to be responsible for is to ensure that required earnest money deposits are delivered to the agreed escrow holding company within the contractual time frame, and be certain that you get a receipt for that. So you guys, typical procedures, either working with a buyer or a seller. Let's say we're going to work with a buyer first here, presenting to a buyer. So we go out, we show homes, we write an offer, offer is accepted, woohoo, right? Now we have to deal with earnest money, right? So typically what I want to, $5 in the donation jar. I'll start doing that. In the contract, in the section where it says about title services, or earnest money, escrow account. Typically it is the seller who is going to choose title generally because they have the most amount of fees and things like that. Usually a good agent will put in the broker comments who their title company is going to be to hold escrow. If you don't know, you want to get a hold of them, say, hey, I'm so excited, my clients love your home, we're going to be making an offer. You need to ask them a couple things. One is, who is the title company? Where do you want me to have escrow sent? Number two, make sure to confirm that this property is still truly active and available, right? Because let's say they got an offer in last night, you're showing us first thing this morning, they haven't updated the MLS. We don't want to go through all the work of writing a contract and doing everything we need to do if they've already accepted an offer, just wasn't updated. Also, you want to double check the MLS to see if that paperclip is at the top. What does a paperclip mean, you guys? Here's attachments. Exactly. What are usually in those attachments?
Disclosures.
Your disclosures, yeah. So these are things that you want to all have signed and presented with your offer at the same time to make it look as strong as possible. Now, do you have to have those disclosures signed in order to send you over your offer? No. Don't let that stop you. If it is there, though, be prepared. Have it available and sent over at the same time. Make sure it's more professional. Now, I always ask the agent, you know, if the disclosure is not online, can you please go ahead and send that to me? I'd love to send you over a complete contract packet. But if not, no big deal.
I had one who said, make sure you send over everything.
Right, then that's probably a proactive agent, I love her. She probably had her attachments already lined up in the MLS, so all you need to do is print them, attach them to your offer, send everything over, signed, sealed, delivered. So we're gonna find out who the title company is now. My general practice for this is, one, I don't wanna be responsible for people's money. I have enough liability, those are trying to eliminate liability as much as possible. So my suggestion is that in the contract, we check off that the earnest money will be, you have two options, accompanied with this offer, or option two is within blank days of acceptance. So I don't even want them cutting checks and writing checks and doing all that if the offer is accepted. And it defaults to 3 days, right? If you're generally going to write the number 3 in there. So that means after we're executed today, we had a contract signed, sealed, and delivered by all parties. Today is the day of execution. You have 3 days after today to get the earnest money delivered to the title company. So in the contract, we will identify who that company is, and you need to have at least one form of contact information, either the address or the phone number or the email address. One of those 3 have to be in there so they can identify which specific title company that is. And then once our offer is accepted, officially signed, sealed, and delivered, I write a nice email to my clients. Hey guys, congratulations, I'm so excited for you. Now begins everything moving forward. Here comes the fun part. Listen, now that our offer is signed, sealed, and delivered, we're fully executed under contract. Now, first thing we need to do is we need to make sure we get earnest money delivered to the title company. Here is the title company's name, their address, their phone number. Here's your contact person. You want to make sure within 3 days that check is in the title company's hand. You can either first thing tomorrow go and priority mail it, which is like 2 to 3 days. The confirmation is $5-6, simple, easy. You can drive down there and deliver it to them, or you can also do a wire transfer. Okay. Wire transfers are super important with all the fraud going on today, that you make sure that they specifically contact the title company, verify the paper that they received with the wire instructions, that is the correct account numbers, and then they can transfer it over there. Also, title companies are required to send you an earnest money receipt of deposit within 10 days. Usually, as soon as that gets sent over, they receive it, they send you over a copy of that, because that is one of the required documents that's going to be in your back office, is the earnest money receipt. Okay? Everybody make sense?
That'll go to the buyer, and then the buyer will give you a copy?
No, well, the buyer is going to send it to the title company.
Yes.
I don't want to touch anyone's money. I don't want to offer to deliver it. If we are using Crown Title, they are welcome to deliver it to any of our Florida luxury offices, and then we will have it couried down there for them. That's about the extent of it.
So we get the earnest money receipt from the title.
Yes, the title company, upon delivery receipt, they will send you out an earnest money receipt. It normally says the buyer, seller, property address, the date they received it, usually a copy of the check, not always, and then when they received it and the property that it's related to. And that, so, and sometimes we get going with so many moving parts, we might miss that, but this is why you guys need to immediately keep up to date on your back office transactions in the back office under My Deals, and that is one of the required documents that you'll see on there. So when you see that, oh, I haven't gotten that yet, let me call the title company, request a copy of that, make sure you get that.
And they'll know to send it to.
Yeah. Okay. Legible copies of the executed contract. Real important word here, guys. Legible. We're lucky in the technology day today. We have like DigiSign and Foxit that we can type everything up. Sometimes we are on the fly, and that's why one of the next projects we're going to have is creating the seller package, right? So we have all these things together. But legible copy of the executed contract. You guys, who do you think that executed contract needs to go to? Who gets a copy of that?
The buyer and the seller?
So all parties should have that signed, sealed, delivered keyword. So if your client is the last one to make a change to it, make sure you take that signed last change and you deliver it to the other side, because until it's delivered, it means nothing. And that can be canceled, they get another offer, and they can void yours. Lots of crazy things can happen. So signed, sealed, delivered being the key point. And also that's what sets your time frames moving forward too, because if you read in the contract, everything is days after execution. Your execution date is the date everything has been signed, sealed, and delivered. Okay. So when you have an executed contract, you need to make sure all parties should have a copy of it. You need to get it over to the lender, and you need to get it over to the title company. I have made the error before of being all excited, got something under contract, it was closing in like 3 weeks, And I get it out to the lender, and I forgot the title company. We're now like 2 weeks out from closing, and I'm all excited. We already have our closing date. I'm calling to ask a question, and they're like, "What are you talking about? We don't even have this file." I'm like, what do you mean you have this file? They're like, "Yeah, we don't have this file." And I was like, "Yeah, hold on, let me resend that to you really fast." And luckily, I caught it enough time that they could pick it up and run with it. But yeah, so always make sure the lender has a copy, title company has a copy. Now, here's kind of a little bit of a gray area. Okay, so typically, this is typical, but nothing ever really happens typically, is that, you know, the seller is handling, the seller picks title. Usually you would expect, sometimes don't always expect anything from anyone, is that the listing agent will send it over to the title company, right? In this business, I'm going to give you guys a key. Here's a little nugget, okay? Be prepared to do everyone else's job. A lot of times it's just a 2-minute follow-up call. Be prepared to do everyone else's job to guarantee yourself a nice, smooth, hassle-free transaction. Okay, if you go into a transaction with that mindset and you don't have to do everyone else's job, then that just is even better for you. But be prepared to do everyone else's job to make sure that gets done. Okay, so I'm going to, and this is also just a good thing too, working with the buyers. I will go ahead and I'll get who the closer is going to be, the processor. Send over a copy of the executed contract. Hey ladies, usually it's ladies in the title world. Hey ladies, I look forward to working this transaction with you. Attaches a copy of the executed contract in case the listing agent hasn't got it to you yet. And here's my client's contact information. So you guys write this down. When you send over the contract to the title company, you want to give them all your buyer's contact information. It's Mr. Bill Smith and Susie Smith. They're a married couple, right? This is going to be their primary residence. They are going to have a loan. Here's their contact information. Here's their phone number. Here's their email. Okay. And then, oh, by the way, my contact information is below, right? Because you want, and now if you're on the listing side, I do the same thing. Send that over to the title company. Hey, here, we're working on a deal with you guys. Here's all my clients' contact information. Here's the buyer agent's contact information. You guys already have my contact information. If there's anything that's kind of weird going on with the deal that may be unusual or something, just put a little note in there to them so they know that, oh, by the way, this is going to be a simultaneous closing. We're going to be closing one here and then one here, just so you guys are aware of all the moving parts, whatever it is, right? Keep it simple.
You get a copy too. I mean, after we put it, did we show it to you prior to putting it in
The what?
the buyers?
Oh, so whenever you guys write a contract, you will always send it to me first before your client. You're gonna send me the contract that you wrote and a copy of the MLS report, the broker full, so I can see all the notes. I'm gonna look through there, make sure you didn't miss anything, make sure you have all your addendums, all your information, make sure everything looks good. If anything needs to be changed or missed, I'm gonna put notes to you. Hey, make these changes, and then send it over to the client for signature. Then once everything is executed, then you're gonna start uploading things to the back office. As soon as you upload it to the back office, Elise and Nancy are gonna review your file. So if there is anything missing or something like that, they're gonna catch it for you. But the big thing is that whenever there's any changes to a contract, guys, it must have both parties' initials next to it. Okay? Otherwise it is not executed. It has to be signed, sealed, delivered. Additional information to the title company. So again, they'll need to know your buyer's contact information. I'm always so ahead of these slides, sorry. Lender, make sure the lender gets a copy of it. Super important so they can start doing what they're doing. Also sometimes, especially if I'm the listing side, is I will put a little note in there to the title company and say, hey, the seller's being charged a total of 6% commission. That's split 50-50 between me and the buyer side. We do have a $250 transaction fee to the client, and I'm charging a $250 MLS fee to the buyer's agent. Whatever those little notes are, just send it to them so they have it prepared. So when they're doing the pre-HUD, before they have those details on the CDA, they can try to get it as accurately as possible the first time around. Creating a transaction management record. So again, this is your back office. This is where we're trying to be as green as possible. We do everything online. This is where you're going to go under My Deals. And then that's where our database is. So under My Leads, that's your database. Then we have My Listings and My Contracts. So you guys, here's an easy way to keep this, because sometimes you guys are getting confused. So My Listings, right? This is when I have a listing, all the paperwork that I have signed by the seller, which is the seller's initials only, right? The listing agreement, the disclosures, all those things, that all goes under My Listing. Now, once it goes under, your listing goes under contract, now that's a contract file. So now you will set up a contract file under My Contract. So you go in, put in all the information, buyer's agent, seller's agent, buyer's information, commission splits, all those different things, closing dates. And then you're gonna upload all the documents that are both buyer and seller initials. So under my listings, you would have just the seller signed property disclosure. Under my contracts, you're gonna have the seller's property disclosure with both the buyer's and the seller's initials. Okay? Kind of the easiest way to keep it straight. So my contract is anything with buyer and seller initials. And again, you wanna do this immediately, you guys. Copies of everything should be delivered to your client within 48 hours. You need to really do it immediately. Get back to the office, scan it, send it to them. My best practice is that I go there prepared to close the deal, mentally and physically. I have 2 copies of all their listing agreement, all their documents, right? I have them all pre-typed up, filled out. The only thing I might leave blank is the purchase price, because that might be something of discussion. I have pre-typed in there typically 7% commission. Okay? That's another psychology thing that we're gonna talk about moving forward. But I have everything typed up, ready to go. Anything change that I make, like putting in the listing price that we agreed to, I'm gonna pull out both sets of documents. I'm gonna write that in on both of them. One of the last pages on there is gonna say about the date that a copy was delivered to the client and how it was delivered. Was it email, fax, personal delivery, or something else, or mail? So I instantly put down that date that I got everything signed. I checked off personal delivery. I give them their copy without signatures. Just here's a copy of everything you signed today. I'm gonna go back to the office. I'm gonna take this copy with your initials. I'm gonna scan it. I'm gonna get that over to you. This way you covered your liability with giving them a copy, but then you also need to get their signatures to them within 72 hours or 48 hours. Then also same thing with back office. You technically 24, 70, 48, 72 hours, 2 to 3 days. You need to have everything uploaded into the back office. We've had situations before where people were not even creating a contract file. We didn't know this file existed. We didn't know this buyer and this transaction even existed, and somebody was out of the country on vacation. And we're getting calls now of upset people, and they're like, she said that it would be this commission, and now I'm seeing that it's this or something like that. And we're like, we have no paperwork that we can even go back to look at to try to handle the situation because you're out of the country and you have to look at documents. This can create problems. Plus, not to mention, it's a fresh thing too. If ever they audit us at any minute, we have to have copies of everything here. So, super duper important, get everything uploaded immediately. Know your contractual contingency deadlines. You guys, dates and deadlines are so important with a contract. And again, this is where your Google Calendar is going to fall in. So your buyer has only so much time to deliver earnest money deposits, perform inspections, obtain a loan commitment, review community association documents, and others. You are the responsible person to be certain that satisfaction of contingencies are met prior to their deadline dates or proactively extending the deadline dates if necessary. So what did we just talk about earnest money? What's the typical time frame that has to be delivered?
3
By the
days.
next,
Yeah,
by the next
3 days. Well, that's if your broker holds earnest.
Okay.
But typically 3 days is when they need to get earnest money delivered. The next date that we're gonna have coming up is gonna be inspection. Right, depending on how it's negotiated in the contract, typically 10 to 15 days to handle inspection. If we're getting close to the end of the inspection period and we do not have an executed agreement upon repairs or the buyer signs satisfaction of inspection, then we need to extend that time period, okay? Because you guys need to understand, really important, we're gonna get into a lot of this in the contract class on Thursday, is that if you guys don't have an executed agreement on what's gonna happen moving forward with that property, and you guys go after the inspection period deadline, guess what? Your buyer just took that house as is. Or they can bail, but they're gonna be in default, they're gonna forfeit their earnest money, and sometimes the seller can come back and sue them for non-performance, right? We're gonna keep our people out of the situation. And we'll go over different tactics about that moving on. Same thing with also in your contract is gonna be, loan approval deadline, closing deadline, all these things are gonna be in there. So really important to use your Google Calendar. The second you get something executed, put that in your calendar. Count out your days. Mark, okay, this is the last day of our inspection period. This is the last day of our approval period. I recommend you also, let's say Thursday the 10th is the last day of our inspection period. Go in there Tuesday the 8th and put a note to yourself, 2 days left on this property's inspection period, right? If you don't want to be dealing with stuff at the last minute, that's stressful. Put a note to yourself at least 2 days before to make sure that you're touching this and you know what's going on and you're proactively moving forward to getting it done before the deadline. Best practice for staying ahead of deadline. Oh, I'm already ahead of the slide. Put it on your calendar, mark it 2 days before, so you guys are staying on top of it and being proactive. Request and obtain community association documents. So you guys, a lot of these homes in here, they have HOAs, CDDs, all those fun things. right? You guys need to be reaching out to the sellers, and trying to obtain a copy of that. Sometimes you can be proactive and look online. They might have a website, you can download those. And also, if it does have an HOA, you guys should have had an HOA disclosure agreement, right? Saying what the fees are, things like that. Well, the big thing that a lot of people miss on that is that very top paragraph that's in like all capital letters in bold, which says basically that once the documents have been delivered, receipt of these documents have been delivered to the buyer, how many days do they have to review that and cancel based on those documents? 3 days. Oh, good. You guys pay attention. Thank you. Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize that. Because it'll be like a week before closing, and they're like, "Oh man, I just actually got around to reading this book, and it says that I can't have a pickup truck. Well, I can't buy this house. All I own are pickup trucks from my job, right? And it also says you can't have work pickup truck, right? And now all of a sudden they can't buy this house. Well, guess what, buddy? You were delivered those documents, and that was your due diligence like 3 weeks ago to get that done. So you can bail, but you're going to be in default. You're going to forfeit your money. You can be sued for non-performance. Okay, so really, really important thing you guys understand that. So receipt, and let your buyers know too. Hey, here's these documents. You have 3 days starting this minute to review these and let me know if you need to cancel based on anything in here. Okay, super duper important. Inspection of satisfaction property conditions. You should always encourage buyers that it is in their best interest to get a professional inspection done. Because again, you guys remember, we're not home inspectors. We can't look at that roof and tell them, oh yeah, that looks good, you should buy this house. Leaving yourself in liability as much as possible. I highly recommend we have a professional come out here, look at this, let you know what it is. This is a big investment. You want to make sure you know what you're buying. Sometimes it can create opportunities for us to try to negotiate, or perhaps if there's too much in the town, it's too overwhelming, then we can back out and get you into another house before you drop $200,000-$300,000.
Back to the HOA, is that what will be in the attachments at the top, or do they have to go onto like the community website?
Most agents out there are lazy, I'll be honest with you, they don't have that in there. But you look, if it does, great, send it to your client, that marks your receipt. And if not, then I would reach out to the other side, hey, can you get these to me, or do you know a contact person at the HOA, and go back and forth about obtaining those. So again, you should always encourage them to get a professional home inspection. That way, it alleviates you of liability. And also, you guys, this is a huge key factor in why the mandatory broker disclosure to buyer form, you have that signed before contract or at the time of contract, because that is one of the highlights that's covered in there to stay. We highly suggest that you get a professional home inspection done, and you can ask us for referral, but ultimately it's up to you and who you choose, blah, 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 right? All that's covered in there. Cover your butt, CYA. I need more time. Inspection, satisfactory property conditions. If the home inspection is done and there are any issues that require more inspections in order for the buyer to make a final decision on satisfaction, then the inspection period is at the deadline. Then what you need to do is negotiate an inspection extension. So again, you have to have, I can't stress this enough, it's not, oh, we did our inspections in those 10 days. No, that's not what the time period is. Time period says, if you read the contract, that all your inspections must be completed, and if the buyer is not happy, they have before the end of that deadline to deliver a notice to the seller in order to cancel the contract and retain their earnest money. Okay, so if they're in negotiations, they're like, Mr. Seller, I only want to move forward if you do these things. And seller's like, well, I don't know what those things are going to cost. Now we need to get estimates, right? Now we're getting in there, and let's say we haven't got estimates, or we're still negotiating back and forth. If you go past that time frame, you guys, and you don't extend it, your buyer just goes there, they just accepted the home as is. So if it's the very next day, 8 o'clock in the morning the next day, and they say, well, no, I'm done with this. I'm not going to do anything now. I'm just to the frustration point, take it or leave it, right? Well, in that case, really, the client can take it or leave it and leave their earnest money with it too. Okay, so really, really important to watch your dates and deadlines. And we're going to go over more things about that in the contract class too. Loan commitment. Okay, this is now called loan approval. The contract by default provides. Actually, our new contracts, you guys don't need to update this, our new contracts last year now say 30 days for loan approval. So, you guys, when we're working for the buyer, we need to put our buyer in the best interest position. Usually, the closing date is going to be, confirm the closing date with the lender. Typically, they need 45 days, right? So, we need to put in there our loan period. Generally, I suggest that you guys do 3 days less your closing date. So, if you're closing 45 days, put that down as like 42 days for your loan approval. If you leave that blank, it defaults to 30, and you better keep your eye on that. You better be on top of your lender like no one's business, okay? I'm working for my client, I wanna get them as much time as possible. The reason I say 3 days before closing is because after 3 days before closing, you guys, what's required to be signed?
The disclosure statement.
The closing disclosures, yeah, from the lender. Now, usually those are not given out unless you have loan approval, full loan approval, then you're good. Now, if you guys, if for any reason, and write this down, this is so important, if ever, you need to extend your closing dates, you had better remember to extend your approval time, your loan approval deadline. Because let's say the lender says, oh, we need more documents, we need more time to approve this, right? So we extended a week. Okay, well, we extended it a week for the closing, but if you don't extend that approval period for your loan and the loan falls through, guess what? You just lost your client's earnest money, right? That's what that deadline is, saying that my earnest money is protected based on my loan getting approved up to this time frame. So if my loan cannot get approved before this time frame, I can cancel and keep my earnest money. But if you go after that loan approval deadline and the loan falls through, you just forfeited your client's earnest money. So, and you guys, it's very important you use the specific forms that are in the back office for you. So one of those, it says about extending dates. And there's multiple things that you can do at the same time. So you can select the closing date, and then immediately underneath of that, it says your approval period. So extend those to match. Then also there's like the inspection and all those other things.
So if you need to extend the closing, you need to extend the loan.
Yeah, the loan approval period too, to match. Okay. Don't risk your buyer losing their earnest money. Very important. There are instances in which the seller are eligible to receive the buyer's earnest money, even if the loan commitment is delivered to the seller. If you, you will want to stay on top of the loan commitment date, and if you need to extend the closing date, what was the head of the thing? Extend the thing. So that's just a copy of it. Property surveys. Lenders, okay, this is lender will require a property survey. It's not actually the lender, it's the title company. Title company is what requires a survey. Now, the lender does require title commitment, okay? And in order to, title commitment and title, something else, can't think of the name of it. And in order to issue those, they require a survey to guarantee the boundaries and whatnot, make sure everything's as it's supposed to be. So, you always need to make contact with the title company and ask them, hey, do you order the title or does my client need to do that? Generally, the title companies do order the survey, and they'll have the buyer sign a paper saying you give us permission to handle all this. And that's generally done right before closing. Now, you do also want to, one of the documents that if you go through the Forms Wizard, which I know you all use the Forms Wizard like you're supposed to, right? There's a question in there where it says, do you want to use the Florida Luxury seller disclosure questionnaire, right? This is asking the seller additional questions that are not covered in the seller's property disclosure, which is 2 different documents. And it asks some things like, Mr. Seller, do you have a current survey or elevation certificate? A lot of people don't realize that if they have a current one and no changes have been made, a lot of times you can recertify the seller's copy to the buyer and save them a ton of money, right? And time. So that's a good question to always ask. So you always want to ask your people on the other side, the seller side, hey, did your client happen to have a current survey or elevation certificate that we can, you know, they might pass them over to the buyer, save them some money, give it over to the title company, they'll review it and they'll get final approval on that. Property appraisal, fun stuff. The lender will require an appraisal for verification of value, and the property meets the requirement conditions for the buyer's loan type. This is typically falling under the FHA/VA. Appraisals are ordered by the lender, and you should be proactive to be certain that the lender orders the appraisal to avoid complicated delays. So typically, here's how it goes. Time is of the essence, right? Even though we have 10 days to get inspections done, we don't want to wait till day 8 to do it, do we? No, wait immediately. This is all about being proactive and prepping your client properly as expectations. Mr. Buyer, as soon as we get under contract, we're going to immediately order inspections. We want to know right away if this home is going to work or not. If it doesn't work, no big deal. We move on and we find another one. We don't want to waste anyone's time. So we're going to order inspections immediately. Once inspections are done, either they work it out or they don't or whatever it is, if we're still moving forward, then I immediately, once inspections are cleared, call the lender. Hey, lender, we're through inspections. Everything's great. Dial up that appraiser, let's get this sucker going. In the, if it's a conventional loan, you will use the appraisal contingency. In the appraisal contingency, it defaults to 10 days before closing. Now, the appraisal must be completed, not ordered, but completed. And if there's any issues, that goes on from there. So you need to make sure that your appraisal is ordered and completed 10 days before closing. Maximum amount of time that an appraisal has to complete an appraisal order is 10 days. They have to have it completed and returned within 10 days. So you definitely want to make sure at your 20 days before closing is about the time period that you're going to order your inspection, order your appraisal, but typically that's going to be right after your inspections, which is within 10 to 15 days where everything lines up. That's perfect for you. Now, also the appraiser, do you guys want to meet your appraiser of the property through the listing agent? Absolutely. I'm afraid some people do, some people don't. You run your business how you want, but I have found the most success over the years is to be proactive. The appraiser is going to call me to make the appointment. I let them know, hey, my owners are a little funny. They like me to be there for everything. Kick the homeowners out of the property, make sure they have the home looking beautiful, smelling beautiful. I get there a few minutes early, open all the windows, make the home shine, right? I'm also going to come prepared with a packet, an appraisal packet, where in there I'm going to have a copy of the contract. Because usually the appraisers don't even get a copy of the contract at the very last minute. Give a copy of the contract. If you have multiple offers on that property, do you think it's a good idea to maybe include those as well?
Mm-hmm.
Show the demand for the property, absolutely. Even if it's just the first page, hey, we have multiple offers on this property. It's an in-demand property. I'm also going to create a nice spreadsheet of every single little thing that owner has done to the property or that has been redone. Replace the water heater in 08, put down brand new baseboards, interior painting, replace the double pane windows. I'm going to make a full list. And what you're doing is you're creating bullets for the appraiser to put in that gun to try to give you as much value as possible. And when I go there, I have a big smile on my face. Sometimes I even stop by Starbucks. I pick up 2 coffees, just regular black coffees with room for cream and sugar. Bring everything in. Like, oh hey, I was on my way over here. I wanted to get a coffee, but I didn't want to be rude, so I got you one too, right? All right. What's our purpose of doing this? We want to be best friends with them, right? We want to build a relationship with them. We want to have good relationship. So, what is it? $3 for just a regular small coffee, right? And then also in my folder, I have all the information about the property, any columns that I want them to use that are going to suggest the price that I want. I also even put in there a handwritten thank you card with a $5 Starbucks card in it. Just, hey, thank you so much for all your hard work. I know how slammed everyone in our industry is right now. I really appreciate all your efforts. And listen, if you have any questions, you need help with anything, please do not hesitate to call me. Thank you so much for your time. It was great meeting you today. Also, a lot of appraisers, when they're out, they have to measure the outside of the exterior of the home, right? I go out there and I offer to hold the tape. Hey, do you need some help? You want me to hold the other end of that tape for you? Or you're out here measuring, right? Be proactive. Think about these things when you're out there.
I didn't realize we could give them I used to bake,
Oh, but you can.
but I never gave them any kind of anything.
I have a habit. Almost anytime I thank you card, I put a $5 coffee card in there. So it's just kind of, you're not bribing them with $5. It's a $5 card. Like, hey, thank you for your time. I really appreciate all your efforts. I know how hard you're working. Right? Real simple. 1 week before closing on a buyer, you should verify that all the transaction record data is complete. All your compliance forms, including the additional documents, have been uploaded into your back office. Now, Elise and Nancy, they're on it. They're like foxes out there, you guys. They're reviewing your files, and you guys are going to get updates. Hey, you're missing this. Hey, you uploaded this in the wrong area. Pay attention to those. Make note of things that you did wrong so you don't do it again, because that's just more time that Elise, instead of sitting down and helping with something, now needs to be on the computer working your files and correcting them. So we want to make sure we get everything in the correct places where we need to go. Once you have uploaded all of your required documents, you'll see your checkboxes start to disappear. Once all your checkboxes are gone and all your required documents are uploaded, back in the beginning of your contract file, you're going to get a little button that pops up now. This is CDR. Commission disbursement request, right? What's a commission disbursement, you guys?
How we get paid.
Yeah, getting paid, right? That's what we want. We worked hard. We want instant gratification too. Just like the seller gets a check, the buyer gets a key. We want a little reward too, right? We want to get paid at closing, guys. Not all brokerages allow you to get paid at closing. Some of them make you wait, bring the check back, wait for that check to clear, then cut it, then mail it. You guys worked hard. We want you to get paid right away, so we're set up so that you can do that, but you must utilize these things. And again, you guys, just a little note, cash transactions, typically they close really fast. Title companies need at least 10 days. 10 days to fully process that file and do everything we need to do to make sure it's done properly. And the CDA, you want to, as soon as you're done with all your required documents, click that button and get it out of the way. The girls will generally 1 week before closing review the final review of your file, send out the CDA. They don't really like to do it earlier than a week before closing just because things can happen. negotiations can happen, prices can change, closing dates can change, and again, all that needs to continue to stay updated in the back office as well as these changes go along. 72 hours before closing. Buyer must review the lender's final closing documents for review, review the documents sent to the lender. And also at this point, this is kind of a good point to reach out to the other side and ask about utility information or give utility information. Okay? Hey, Mr. Listing Agent, can you please have the seller send us a list of who their electric company is, water company, garbage company, things like that, so we can go ahead and schedule to get everything turned on. If you guys are working with a seller, keep in mind that they must keep utilities on until after the final walkthrough, until closing. Okay? Because when the buyer goes, and let's say it's a vacant house, they're like, oh, we're done with inspections, we're gonna turn everything off. And sometimes they do, and they don't even tell you, right? So you need to just be proactive about your clients, let them know, we need to keep everything on until the day of closing, and then the buyers will call in and have that all switched over. Because their final walkthrough, sometimes it doesn't happen until the morning of closing. And they're gonna wanna go through and flush toilets and turn water on and make sure it gets hot and all the air conditioning still works, right? We have to keep everything on. Couldn't tell you how many closings have been delayed because sellers turned everything off, morning of closing, they go to do their walkthrough and they can't. And that's a ridiculous thing, it should have been caught, okay? 48 hours before closing, buyer needs to coordinate the amount and method of which the final payment will be done. Typically right now, because of all the things that are going on and stuff, most title companies require that to be a wire transfer. Okay, but again, you need to find out those details from the title company. Can they bring a check? They bring a check. What kind of check does it need to be made out to? Blah, 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 but usually it's gonna be a wire transfer. Coordinate the final walkthrough. Okay, now I'm going to kind of coach you guys on two different things here. So let's say we have inspections and there's some repairs that are to be done. I'm going to coach you guys that I like to see in repair request addendum, which is the one in the back office. Don't use the blank addendum. Use the stuff that we have for you for a reason. There's certain verbiage in there. I like to put at the bottom of my repair request addendum to the seller if I'm working with the buyer. Mr. Seller, I want you to have all these items completed and paid receipts sent at least 5 days before closing. Why do you guys think I want to do that? Exactly. Couldn't tell you how many times buyers it'll be, because you don't put that in there, then technically they have up until your walkthrough to make sure everything's done right before closing. And then what happens is the buyer goes on their final walkthrough and they're like, oh, he didn't do that. He didn't do this right at all, right? And they're not happy. So now what is it? Now it's an hour before closing and now we have these issues. You think that's going to create some stress and some tension, right? That's not good. We don't want that for our clients. So that's why being proactive, kind of person that I am, is I want that to say 5 days before closing that all inspections or all repairs to be completed and paid receipts sent to the client, right? Because then I'm going to go on what I call a post-inspection walkthrough. We're going to look now, not 5 minutes before closing, and make sure everything is good and to the satisfaction of the client. Now, the seller does still have to maintain the as-is maintenance until closing. And with those items, and then we'll still have one more final walkthrough. But we want to be proactive about things. Again, our goal is to keep this a nice, smooth transaction, right? Be proactive about things. Keep our clients happy so they send us more business and call us again in the future.
So can you repeat?
Never do the walkthrough yourself. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. They must have a friend, a family member, someone that can go there with you and do that, but you never do a walkthrough for a client. Ever, ever, ever. Alleviate liability as much as possible. What were we asking?
Can you repeat what you write in the fire repair?
So seller to have all repairs completed. Seller to have all repairs completed and paid work receipts delivered at least 5 days before closing.
Thank you.
All right. Again, 48 hours before closing. This is the perfect time to prepare your closing gift that you'd like to give to your client. Depending on the client, I do different things. One real simple, easy thing, especially if there's somebody who likes to drink wine, is I just get a decent bottle of wine. And at Office Depot, Avery has these really cool labels. They're wine bottle labels. And you can create a custom label for them. Congratulations, Mr. and Mr. Smith, on their first home. And then maybe the closing date, a nice little message. And then, of course, your branding and phone number, right? Sincerely, your proactive realtor for life, Sharice Matthews, Florida Realty, 778-3639, right? This is something they're probably going to, even if they drink it or don't drink it, they're probably going to keep that and put that somewhere. Yeah. Whatever your closing gift is, you guys think ahead. You want to try to think of something, if possible, or at least a part of your closing gift to be something that's monogrammed with your information, right? One of my clients had bought a beautiful waterfront home right across from the clubhouse in Gulf Harbors. And one of the things I did, and he was a big Tennessee whiskey man, right? So what I did is I got him a big bottle of Tennessee whiskey. I got him a custom decanter. The last name was Cox. So I had Cox in Old English written on the decanter. On the back of it said, sincerely, your proactive realtor for life. Sharice Matthews, my contact information. And I got this little matching glasses that had C's on them. I also did for them because this was a big sale. And I'll find the details and share that with you guys. But I found these awesome custom cutting boards, right? Especially as somebody that entertains a lot or cooks a lot, things like that. It was tempered glass, and what I did is I took pictures. The listing agent actually had these nice, beautiful professional photos. This place had a private beach. It had a nice aerial view of the water behind their house. And so I took a couple different pictures, you know, the water view, the private beach. I found a picture of them on social media, like together. And I put all these pictures together, and then I said, you know, the Cox family established October 2012, whatever it was, and the address. And then in the bottom corner, I had Florida Luxury logo, sincerely, your proactive realtor for life. So guess what? Every time they have a party, what do you think they pull out? They pull out that cup, and they're like, look at it. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, like, I've probably gotten 3 phone calls from parties that they've had where they pulled that out and saw that. Okay, and I picked up more business. So try to think about things like that, okay? And of course, something like the cutting board, that's something I had to order like a week ahead of time for processing and delivery. Final walkthrough property inspections. The buyers provided the opportunity to do a final walkthrough inspection of the property before closing to verify everything is as it's supposed to be. So you guys, one of the things to definitely check, have a copy of your contract with you. Anything that was supposed to stay in the house is still in the house. You negotiated the washer and dryer. You negotiated that hot tub, you know, whatever it is, the wall mount TV. Make sure all those things are there. Go through your repair request list. Again, make sure all of those are still complete and in good order. What else? Any little things like that. You want to make sure all that is together. You never, ever, 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 ever do a walkthrough for a buyer. Oh, I can't be there. It's not important. Why don't you just go do it? No, not going to happen. Okay, at closing, there's a document that you will have them sign. It is a closing walkthrough. It's going to ask them a couple of questions. It says, hey, did you do a walkthrough, yes or no? And then it's going to ask, was everything that was supposed to be in the property still in the property? Was the repairs that were required to be made? Was the property kept in the condition it was at the time of contract? And then the last question, which is another CYA, which is, did you purchase a home warranty? Yes, no, or we negotiated it, the seller paid for it. And I don't care if they say we're going to get a home warranty the next day. I don't care. If they don't have one at that minute, you have them sign decline. And you can put a note, client will buy one tomorrow. I don't care. But at that moment, they sign yes, no, or the seller provided. Okay, big deal. All done and ready to close. Woo! Right, closing day. Get paid. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy. Be sure to make sure that the buyer completes, again, I'm ahead myself, the walkthrough. Make sure I answer any questions. Now it's celebration time, post-closing to-dos, right? So now after closing, it's not done, right? Immediately deliver to the FLR office your post-closing requirements, which is going to be, so after closing, the title company is going to hand you a little packet. In there is going to be your final closing disclosures, or your HUD, signed by all parties. You're going to have that. You're going to have, if you did do your CDA and had your paperwork on time, you should have 2 checks. You're going to have the check to FLR, and you're going to have your check. Then also you should have your walkthrough paper, okay? So those 4 things you need to bring to the office. Now, you're welcome to cash your check, but make sure we have a copy of it. When you go to the bank, ask the bank to make a copy of that for you, okay? So we have to have a copy of it. So you're going to bring us the the closing disclosure, the final walkthrough, and the 2 checks, or a copy of your check at least. Okay, you're going to get that to Elise. Now, these closing documents, you do not upload to the back office. It specifically says when you go in there, this is for admins only. You do not upload because they have a certain procedure, things that they have to do. So after the closing, you just got to give that to Elise and she'll take care of everything for you. Okay, or any office. If you happen to close and you're closer to the Port Richey office or something, you can turn everything in there. That's fine too. And if we're out here, you can just put it on her desk or slide it in my door. Okay, to-do list. Make more money. Woo! Right? We've got to get some more now. So post-closing, you also want to make sure you update my leads. right? Because in my lead, you have the different categories now. They went from a seller to a past client or a buyer to a past client. You want to change the drifts that they're on. So if in improv you have them down on buyer drifts, you want to now change it to a past client drift, right? Because it's going to be different information. You want to have pertinent information being sent to them so they actually take the time to review it. Also, social media posts. You guys, what a great opportunity to show that you're a hardworking realtor, right? Get a sold sign at the walkthrough. Get a picture of them holding that sold sign in front of the house, you guys. One of the things that I need to make one for the office here, but a lot of the Spring Hill agents, what they're doing is they're actually like the corrugated plastic, like our open house signs, they're having it made, and it says like Wayne Fisher sells another one. You know, congratulations to this happy homeowner. You could be next. Call me and my phone number, right? Get a picture of them holding that in front of the house, right? It's going to do great things for you. Plus, also, that you're listing, you can put that in the ground a couple days before closing so all the neighbors see it. Hey, right? So social media, very, very powerful thing. And, you know, if you can, if your clients are open to it and they're that kind of people, get a video testimonial. Hey guys, just want, if you don't mind, just sharing out there with the rest of the world, you know, kind of what your experience was working with me in Florida Luxury and what you enjoyed and da-da-da, whatever, and then blast that everywhere, right? How much business do you think you're going to pick up from somebody getting on there and saying how amazing you are, right? And then not only do you blast that on your page, you tag them in everything you do, it gets blasted on their page, and then all their friends see it, and they're like, oh, congratulations, I saw you bought a house. They're like, yeah, I have this awesome realtor, you got to call him, right? Think about these things. Take one, maximizing opportunity. Take this opportunity and maximize it to the fullest to use it to get even more business from there. Okay. Do transactions. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna flip the script now to the seller side. Okay, so that was all buyers. Sellers, can I get this one? Same thing, earnest money. You want to follow up with the other agent or the title company and make sure that within those 3 days, earnest money was delivered. If not, what happens, guys? You're outside of your earnest money period. Earnest money has not been delivered. What do you think happens? The contract is void. You want to keep that together, don't you? Stay proactive, stay on top of things. Again, be prepared to do everyone else's job. A lot of times, it's just a 2-minute thing. It's a phone call, it's an email, just making sure that something got done, right? 2 seconds will save you a world of headache and hurt and time later on. Again, copies of the contract. You will make sure that as a listing agent, you'll make sure the title company has a copy of that, along with the buyer's agent's information, your client's information, all that good stuff. If you do have usually you're going to get the copy of the lender's pre-approval letter with your offers. If you put that in there correctly in the MLS, and then I would even just CC the lender in the title company email, and that way they have the title company's information as well. Okay, so that's another thing too on the listing side. I'm proactive about things, and I will reach out to the lender. Hey, I'm so happy we're moving forward with this deal and your client. I look forward to working with you. Here's the title company's information because they have to send requests out to them as well. Additional information, we already talked about that same thing. Get that email out to the title company. Create your contract management record. So again, now we're going to go under contract, my contract, because now we have a buyer and a seller. That's my contract. Accommodate inspection schedule. So here's kind of my little tip on this. If a house is vacant, I'm okay with just the home inspector going there doing what they need to do. Anytime, and this is vacant or not, anytime a buyer is in the house, I want the agent to be there as well. I don't want a buyer just, and where it's vacant or somebody, especially if somebody lives there, but whether it's vacant or not, I don't want a buyer just wandering around a property. I don't know what they're doing. They might be trying to climb in the attic. They might be trying to get on the roof. No, you don't know. Liability issues, they can hurt themselves, right? Anytime, and now if they're saying, oh, it's just the client's working, it's just the inspector, he's gonna go out there and do his thing, okay, perfect, I don't care. They're a professional, they usually have super keys, I let my client know. And scheduling this can be a little tricky because you have 3 to 4 different people involved in trying to schedule it. So usually it's going to be ordered by the buyer's agent. As a buyer's agent, you want to get from your client, hey, what do you want to be there at the inspection? Yes or no? If they do want to be involved in the inspection, I generally coach them that sometimes it can be a few hours, right? We don't need to be sitting there for a few hours wasting our day. We don't want to be up the inspector's butt, interrupting him and distracting him from his very detailed job. So I coach my clients that what's best is that if you do want to be involved with the inspection, is that we go at the very end. So I ask the inspector, how long is it going to take you? I'll be there from 1 to 3. Great, I'm going to tell my clients to start arriving there about 2:30, right? 2:30, 2:45. And this way, you and your clients get there, you meet your client there. He's going to do a final I let them know that the inspector's going to do a final review with you. So after he's there, he's doing all of his things, while he's finishing up, we can go through and do room measurements, right? Because you don't want to have to get in later on and measure for carpet. Sometimes sellers can be a pain in the butt. Do whatever you want to do, take second looks at things, and then by the time he's done, you sit down with him, the inspector's going to do a final review with you. He's going to walk you through the house, show you the good, the bad, the ugly, explain everything needs to be explained, and you can ask questions. Then later on, usually that day or the next morning, you're going to have a copy of the report, and any additional questions you can ask them. They'll have photos, details, all those great things. So I coach my clients that if you do want to be involved in the inspection, we don't want to go there until the very end. So, Mr. Buyer, based on that information, give me a couple different days and times that are available. Then I got to call the inspector. Hey, Mr. Inspector, what do you have that's kind of flexible with this, right? So then I figure out, a day and time between these things, and then I got to call the listing agent. Hey, Mr. Listing Agent, we got a couple of these days and times. What works best with your people that we can get it and get this done? Okay. Then they're going to, you're now the listing agent, back in listing agent position. They're going to let you know, hey, we can do this time or that time. I always ask the questions, is the client going to be there? Are they going to be involved? If so, anytime a client is there, I require an agent from your brokerage to be there with them. I don't want them in the house there alone. Okay.
What if the seller wants to be there?
I usually coach my seller to stay out of the way. Sometimes they're anal, they're picky about things, they want to be there. I say that's fine, but please stand back. Let them do their job. They're professionals. They have insurance. They might have questions. And especially when the time that the buyer comes in, always want to try to keep buyer and seller separate as much as possible. Try to keep them separate because people talk, things get said, they get misunderstood, they get remembered differently. Now we're at closing. Well, you said this. No, you said. Keep them as separate as possible. And then also the same thing now, you have to coordinate, the appraisal, all that other good stuff. Put appointments on your calendar, Google Calendar again, right? Google Calendar, put these things on your calendar, put on your calendar, doesn't exist. You need to stay on top of these things. I always call and prep my clients the night before. Hey guys, don't forget, tomorrow at 2 o'clock, the inspector and the agent's gonna be there. Just wanted to remind you, I know you're gonna be at work, but just wanted to remind you, and they're gonna call me afterwards, I'm gonna have any questions, whatever, okay? As a listing agent, you should be prepared with these, so being proactive in things. What I like to do is, in my listing appointment, as I'm closing the deal, okay, here's what's gonna happen next. I need you to start working on getting all these documents together for me. If you don't have them, call your HOA company, your management company. Usually they'll provide that for you for free. If I try to call the agent and get it, sometimes they want to try to charge me. But they're 25 cents a page. And these things can be like this, okay? So that's why I would coach my client to be proactive. And I tell them why. Because when we go to contract, we want to provide them with all this information up front right away because they only have, how many days?
3 days.
3 days to review these. So we don't want to be trying to deal with this after contract and then get it to them like a week before closing and then they cancel 4 days before closing. We want to be proactive about this. This is your homework. Mr. Seller, I'm going to leave you with the seller's property disclosure for you to fill out. Here's your other homework is you need to contact the HOA and get me all these documents. And then when I come back to do the open house or do photos, I'm going to collect that from you then as possible.
One thing I ran into with the listing that we're going to work on tomorrow is there is the main association document, but there's all these addendums.
Get them all, because there's all the changes that happen throughout
Okay.
that. So you put everything together. We do have a scanner here at the office if you need. Sometimes you have to break those down into 2 or 3 different scans. Don't break the machine, please. I almost break it enough every day. Okay. Also, take note of when you sent it. I like to do everything through emails because we have written documentation, confirmation, and date stamps, right? Okay. Survey, again, when I'm in the listing appointment, these are some of the things that I'm asking them. Do you have a current survey or elevation certificate? If so, great. The buyers really appreciate that. I'll ask them to recertify that. And if it's an older one, you want to get a copy of that to the title company and say, hey, will you accept this? And if not, then just don't even mention it. right? Oh, it's too old, it's like 15 years old, our cutoff is 8 or 13 years, whatever it is. Property appraisers, again, I'm proactive. I like to meet the appraiser out there when I'm a listing agent, prepare that package for them, maybe stop at Starbucks, the handwritten thank you card, put all that together to try to be kissing some butt, get it done. Now, I'm gonna touch on this really quick. When it talks about so we have the FHA appraiser, and he is also the FHA VA inspector. One dude, two titles, or check. Two titles. So they're gonna come out, they're gonna do the appraisal, and they're also gonna be checking the property based on condition, right? Because what are some of the things that FHA and VA require, for the home, the condition of it to be in order to qualify for that loan? Livable, right?
It has to be safe.
Safe, okay, it can't have any exposed wiring.
No.
The
Outside free.
plumbing has to work, and be connected. It doesn't have to have appliances. Before it used to have like a
But
fridge.
you can't have any chipping paint, I know that.
Chipping paint sometimes it can be a biggie if it's really bad in a lot. Safety, out like GFCI outlet. The roof has to be watertight, can't be more than like 3 to 5 years old, something like that, 3 or 4 years old. Those things. So those are again some things that I mentioned to my clients when I walk around the house and say, here's a few things that could be caught if you go with an FHA. You want to be proactive and take care of these things now. So if you notice they don't have GFCI outlets around the kitchen sink or in the bathrooms, hey, Harbor Freight I found is the cheapest place to go buy those. They're only like $7, $8. Home Depot was like 15, and you can use a 23% coupon. Go buy those now. Either you install it or get a handyman to install it, because guess what? If they catch it after inspection, you know what they're going to require? They're going to require you pay $90 an hour to an electrician to have them put it in.
Yeah.
So be proactive about those things now. Again, I think another keyword today besides action is what? Proactive, absolutely.
I was
And
gonna
that's
say Google Calendar.
and Google Calendar, those are 3 words of the day so far. Okay, 1 week before closing, same thing, you wanna make sure you keep doing this along the way, but you wanna do a final check, make sure everything has been uploaded in there. Now, you guys, when you're in your contract file, you have the check boxes for your required documents, such as your earnest money receipt, disclosures, contracts, tax records, those things. It does not have in their boxes, because it's not always negotiated, something like repair request addendums. Additional addendums adding and changing things. You guys, in the bottom section there, it says additional documents, and you name it. So just because repair request addendum is not on that required checklist does not mean that you don't need to have it in the back office. Okay, so think about those things. Basically any time you have an addendum disclosure or something like that, that night, you should be, just like how you go through and you're gonna be checking your action plans, your tracking sheets, you should also be doing that for your back office stuff. Same practice, we're learning good habits. Every night you should be in your files, make sure everything is current and up to date. Because what happens later on is sometimes we have closing date changes, right? And if you don't go back into the back office and you don't change that in the system to change the closing date, and you don't upload your closing date document change, guess what? Now you're calling the title company saying, where is everything? We're closing tomorrow, and we're like, well, that's not what we have. Yeah, then you're closing next week. You got to tell us, and that's the way to communicate with us so that we know, so we're all on the same page to make sure everything is done. 72 hours for closing. Again, you're representing the seller, but we still have rights to talk to that lender, right? I want him to know who I am, and we're gonna have a relationship too, because I'm gonna be proactive, and I'm gonna be staying on top of you. So as we get 72 hours for closing, you need to be having that conversation with the lender. Hey, are your CDs ready? Are your closing disclosures ready? Have that been sent out to the client yet? You want to be proactive and staying on top of that conversation. And if not, guess what? You're 3 days before closing. That closing disclosure is not ready to go out. What does that mean?
Have to delay the closing.
So we need to know about those things. Prepare our clients for those things, right? Being proactive again. 40 hours for closing. You're generally supposed to have a preliminary HUD statement. This is going over all the costs, fees, expenses. This is where you need to double check the contract price is right, the earnest money is right, your commission is correct. You need to make sure that $250 administration fee is on there, because guess what? If that $250 administration fee is not on there, who gets to pay it?
We do.
It's a good thing to check. Make sure any credits, like closing credits, anything like that is all on there. If there is anything that is not correct, that's why this is called a preliminary HUD. You need to let the title company know, please make this correction, revise, send back to me. You approve it, make sure that most of the time, and again, you gotta be prepared to do everyone's job. Most of the time, when that is sent out, you're CC'd with a bunch of other people. Check that. If you don't see that your client was sent that as well, you be proactive. You send it to your client after you get the updated one. Say, hey, I want to make sure that you got a copy of this, because sometimes title companies send it to you, and then your client's like, WTF, what's going on? I didn't get this. You're like, oh, they sent it to me, they didn't send it to you, and so you're calling the title company, and the title company haven't even sent it to my client. We didn't send it to your client, we sent it to you. You should have sent it to your client, right? We don't want to play that blame game. Be proactive about things, okay? 48 hours after closing, coordinate the final walkthrough. Again, we want to do if there's inspection items done. Now again, we're representing the seller side, so you just want to coordinate with the buyer's agent. When were you planning on doing your final walkthrough? Want to make sure everything's set up for you, blah, 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 whatever's going on. So again, communication with the other side, coordinate everything. Also to remember now you're the listing agent. So you want to be proactive in ordering your sign down, taking off your lockbox, bringing those keys. Now, sometimes what I might do is if the buyer side is doing their walkthrough the morning of closing, I'll sometimes call the agent and say, hey, I know you're gonna do the walkthrough the morning of closing. Do you mind just bringing the lockbox with you to closing? That would be great. Right? I'm not shy. This way to say, because really, if you order the sign up to the postman, you don't have to go there and take it down. The postman goes and does that. So it saves you a trip out to the property if you want.
Do you have to, being proactive, I have to talk to the buyer and make sure that they schedule the walkthrough.
Or you just ask them, hey, are you guys gonna be doing a final walkthrough?
And if they don't do it,
No, they don't. Okay, so even when you're on the listing side, I'm representing the seller. I'm gonna be proactive, call, hey, are you guys gonna be doing a final walkthrough? So I'd like to, get that scheduled now, so we're this one less thing to worry about. If they say, oh no, we're not gonna do a final walkthrough, okay, no problem. My office does still require a final walkthrough form, so if your office has one of those, you just wanna check off that they did not do a walkthrough. I really appreciate that. You can give it to me at closing, or if you wanna take care of that now, that would be great. And then they say, oh, well, our office doesn't have anything like that. Okay, great, let me send you mine. And then most of the time their offices do have those things. So remember, it's not just if you have a buyer that you need that post-closing walkthrough. It's also from the seller side, you need to be proactive about the other side, getting that to you. Because again, that's another alleviating liability. Okay? Okay. 48 hours for closing, again, talking about closing gifts, preparing nice things. One of the things that I do sometimes with my clients, and they just love this, is I'll let them know, hey, and so I'll save this until the end. I'm like, Mr. Seller, you guys have just been so wonderful to work with. I really appreciate you having the confidence in me to get the job done. What I'm going to do for you as a closing gift is, and I do this about a week before closing or a couple days before closing. I let them know, as a thank you for meeting you as a closing gift, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually have my maidservant come out the morning of closing, and I'm going to have them go out and clean the house down for you. I know after packing and moving and everything else that you have to do, cleaning the house for someone else is the last thing you want to do. And they're just like, oh my gosh, because they're already so stressed, they've been through so much, they're packing, they're moving, and this is just a huge relief for them. It's one less thing that they have to do. Plus also you have happy buyers moving into the house, you have a good relationship, all these awesome things. So and it's up to you. I mean, if you want to do that or not. I mean, it's like, I think I spent like $150 on average, maybe $200. And that's a write-off for me. I use it as a marketing expense, right? And then, have my lady go in there, she does a great job, and they're super happy. And sometimes I might use that as my buyer too. When my buyer's moving into a home. I know the last thing you want to do after packing and moving is have to go and wipe down cabinets and refrigerators before you put stuff in, or have to clean the toilet, whatever. You don't have to do those things. I'm gonna have my maid service there the day of closing. They're gonna go there, they're gonna clean the house top to bottom for you, so you guys can move right in. Oh my gosh, that is such bragging material. I've had them send referrals to me and say, oh yeah, and she mentioned that you did that cleaning thing. Can we get something like that too? Oh heck yeah. And then I also use that when I do my raffles. When I do my community events, I put on there as a raffle, hey, you guys want to win a day of free, so who wants a free house cleaning, right? Who doesn't want a free house cleaning? You want a free house cleaning? Great, come over here, I'm going to do a raffle, I'm going to give away a free house cleaning. Also, if you think about buying or selling a home with me, I provide it to all my clients. Or if you know anyone thinking about buying or selling a home, I offer that to you and the client as a thank you gift for thinking of me. Oh, right, just little things to think about. Okay, all done and closed. So again, you confirm the final walkthrough. We're on the seller side now, so you confirm the final walkthrough the other side. confirm closing dates, you want to have already sent over to them utility information. Post-closing, again, go in, same thing, change your clients from now sellers to past clients, get them on the appropriate drip, send them out a nice thank you card again after closing, it's a great idea. Deliver all your closing stuff to the office, your CDA, your 2 checks, and the final walkthrough from the other side. And again, we already talked about that. That's a lot of it. All right, so what do you guys think? Think you can handle it?
Good stuff.
All right. So do you guys have any questions? Are we gonna have good questions?
Yeah, how do you necessarily choose a closing date? Like, you just,
Okay, so closing date, the final answer on that is gonna be ultimately the lender. So the lender, while your buyer's like, yeah, I'm gonna close this sucker in 2 weeks. I'm gonna close in 30 days. If they're financing, that's not their decision. It's the lender's decision. So I was in the very beginning, so here's a little pearl. So in the very beginning, I'm working with a buyer. First thing we're gonna do is you're pre-approved with a lender, right? If not, let me get in touch with my preferred lender so we can get that going. I'm gonna reach out to the lender. Hey, lender, we're gonna be working together with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I really look forward to working with you and helping them find a great home. Because remember, you and the lender are a team, teamwork to get these people to do what they need to do to get them to closing. Great, Mr. Lender, I just want to confirm where you are in the process with them. Have they gotten their documents to you? The W-2s, tax forms, blah, blah, all that. What do you need left? And you guys are going to tag team. So now you are going to go back to your client and say, hey, I met your lender, great guy. He did mention there was a few documents you still need to get to them. You guys are tag teaming, working together to guide the client in the right direction. While I'm on the phone with them, I'm like, okay, just want to confirm here, I know it's on the pre-approval letter that you're putting them down for FHA. Is that definitely the loan type you're going to go with, or do they possibly have options based on how we decide to go? Because they might be able to go conventional, or they know they definitely need FHA. Well, they definitely need FHA. That's going to determine the type of house you put them in. They're not going to be able to buy a house where the air conditioning's gone, things like that. Also, Mr. Lender, just so I have my notes here correct too, I just want to know roughly, based on the highest level of their approval, how much would they expect their closing costs to be? Right, that's an important thing. Also, how much money down are you confirming with them? Okay, because remember, you guys, we do this. The other guys, the clients, they don't, right? So while the lender does go over all these things with them, you guys, people retain like 10, 20%, or they combine everything. So when they think about money to close on a house, they just think of one thing. They don't think closing costs, down payment, 2 completely different things. So identify with them, roughly, worst case scenario, what can you expect for closing costs? What are they putting down? If at this maximum point, not counting HOA fees or whatever, what would their payment be? Okay, and then when my clients are ready, they see a house, they want to make an offer. Before we make an offer, I'm covering these things with them, if not prior to. Saying, hey, okay, so before we move forward, just to make sure you're very clear, you need X amount of dollars for down payment. You're going to need X amount of dollars for closing costs. Do you have this? They might be like, oh, well, no, I didn't know it was that much. I thought I just had to have this, and the lender mentioned something about I can ask the seller for the rest. Well, do you think we need to know those things before we make an offer? That's why, again, we need to be proactive. And so that's why we identified, okay, your payment should be about this. I want to make sure that you're good and comfortable. And then, if they say, oh, well, I have, I'm going to need 10,000, I only have 8. So then we know moving forward, we need to negotiate $2,000 to $3,000 on behalf of the client. And then also let them know about their upfront expenses. By the way, you have home inspection, termite, appraisal, these things, right? This is all kind of a part of your consultation with them. So, but yes, I introduced myself to the lender. Hey, look, we're working with you. Let me get all this information so that when I'm sitting down with the client and it's time, I know that I covered this with them and they're good moving forward with everything. But I'm going to ask the lender, based on where you are and based on what you see with this client, what's a comfortable time frame for you to close? And they might say, well, we might be able to squeeze 30 days if they do all these things first. Don't count on anybody to do anything. I'm going to schedule my closing dates for 45 days. Okay, but this is why it's so important to coach your client to get all the documents to the lender as soon as possible, because if they've already verified all their documents and think they're underwriting one, guess what? You normally takes your closing time from 45 days to 30 days. If we're in a hot property and we have multiple offers on the table and we're coming in with a strong offer, do you think we're going to be even stronger closing at 30 days instead of 45 days? It's going to put us in a better position if we have multiple offers in a competitive situation, which is what you need to explain to your clients so they understand the benefit of why they need to do these things. Okay? All right, any other questions? Awesome. All right, guys, well, I am real, oh, wait, one more, Victoria?
No.
Oh,
What do I ask you about this fighting with me on now? Could you just?
okay, yeah, that'll be an hour o'clock thing. But awesome, you guys. All right, well, thank you for coming in. I appreciate your patience with our technical issues this morning. I promise we'll get better at those. But I'm excited, looking forward to molding some amazing realtors here that I see and, graduating with another awesome island party, right?
Do you just choose like for the escrow deposit any?
Oh, earnest money, so we're gonna go over that in the contract class on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
But earnest money is typically 1 to 2%. I usually don't let them put anything less than $1,000 down.
Okay.
Yeah, because really, I mean, if you're buying a $200,000 property and you're putting $500 down,
Yeah.
how committed are you really to that property? I mean, most people can just walk away from $500 if they really have to. I want them to be committed, because my clients are gonna be committed to that. So. All right, you guys, thank you so much for coming. And don't forget Thursday, 10 to 1, we're gonna be going over contracts. So, that'll be fun stuff.
So, I have a question.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
See ya.
Yeah.
I'm a same full time, so we're gonna work together. I'm on a very,
You know,
I need that little bit.
you are pretty well.
Impression.
It's anybody, anywhere you require, you know, it's only when he's the require.
Yeah, I wouldn't let her.
Yeah. That is
Dressing
also-
like.
But
You just have to have the right approach. I mean, we can get that.
okay, good luck with it.
Thank you.
Give me the description, you're okay, you're marking it, you know? You know,
I'm not gonna get that very first.
I know. Now, you can, I mean, anything you can go through your hard work. So, I mean, you could do there, you have to do it up, Yeah,
If I was to listen this way,
Yeah, yeah.
I know. Me too.
You reimburse me $500 for the marketing fee, and then, or you can pay me $500 up front today, to handle the marketing, and if you bring the buyer, I'll credit that, or if the realtor is involved in the property, I'll credit that.
Okay, well, I got another one. I told him the situation. He's trying to make a savings out of his house. He's got until August, the end of August, to get it out, but he really doesn't want to list the property. I was trying to go with that, I think he just wanted to list the property, even though you can't show it, because he tends to, you know.
How many come down to how it's pricing, even investors pricing, like pricing it, you know, we get to move quickly, you know, or you know, whatever. Then I would get him to try to sign now and say, let's do this, go ahead and sign this now, and then I'm gonna put in the listing agreement that is probably one percent to the MLS, and so no showing, there are no, there are not, you know, when you deliver notice to me, that the tenant has been moved out. But this is what I can do, then I can put it on this, or something, start marketing at 22. So then I would bring my police through marketing, launching out all the ambassadors, and then ultimately, really, like, in those situations, you know, about those, usually what the people think is, oh, no, I keep being all marketing.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
but he's got posted on Zillow, so he's getting plenty of people coming over and looking at the house.
How's that going? How many people are looking at it? How many merchants do you want?
He told me